Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back, and today we're going to do One Piece chapter 1059 review. Let's get into it. So the title of this chapter, the Captain Kobe Incident. It's an interesting title for this one. And we start off with the cover page where Katakuri ends up punching Oven, and looks like this gas is actually very powerful and seems to have been a tool that they could have used earlier. The Straw Hats could have used earlier when they were at Whole Cake Island, but obviously Oda's not going to do something cheap like that, and I think we appreciate that as fans, not doing something this cheap until later. I think like it works for a cover story rather than the main point of an arc using poison, hallucinogenic gas. And yeah, you can do anything potentially with that, right? So I think this was more of a cop-out, easily used in a cover story rather than, later. So looks like Germa and Caesar escape properly. And yeah, Katakuri just ends up punching Oven, and looks like they're probably going to get away. To start off the chapter, we go to near Sphinx, Whitebeard's homeland, right, where the Whitebeard pirates used to visit often in the New World. And it looks like Marco was pulling up with the red hair pirates and just kind of going along for the ride. He was trying to take in a sea Uber, right? We could call it a sea Uber. And Shanks is running the Uber, basically. And it's funny where Shanks kind of offers Marco to join the crew again like he did previously while Marco was underneath Whitebeard. And Marco's just like, yo, dude, I'm too old for this shit. I'm done with it. And you guys are great pirates, but yeah, I'm just too worn out now, So it's interesting to kind of see their dialogue together. It's cool to see kind of the banter between Lucky Roo and Shanks being like, hey, I'm not that bad, right, Beck? And then Lucky Roo's like just cracking up, and he's just like, yeah, you are a lot to deal with, Shanks, And it looks like just Marco just ends up taking off. He's just like, yo, see you around, you know what I'm saying? We then get into a quick flashback where we actually find out what happens with Yamato and what she told the Straw Hats and why she's not joining. And she ends up just telling Luffy that we all know why Green Bull ended up leaving, right? Why Green Bull ended up not attacking Wano is because of Shanks. That's the only reason that they left, right? And there's always going to be more people coming to the island, and she's just like, yo, I can't just abandon everyone now. And it definitely makes sense. Like, how would Wano have been protected at all, right? If the admirals could just pull up at any given moment and just take over, right? And they would want to take over a land like Wano, which has, the ancient weapons. So I think Yamato being there is kind of a necessary thing. And I'm glad that she's kind of staying back, and Oda kind of cleared this up for all of us. And I like how Zoro, he always has this on his mind, kind of the honor and pride of a man, right? And it's cool that he kind of just reminds Yamato, yo, Momo's a very prideful man. Don't kind of disgrace his pride in that fact. But, Yamato's just like, yo, I'll come up with something. And earlier we see how Marco kind of pulled up and said hi to the Straw Hat crew, and Luffy just thanks him, thanks for saving me back there. I never got to thank you. And we get a really, really heartfelt moment here where Marco says, I'm sure Ace would be proud to see how far you've come. And Luffy just ends up laughing. And I think that was great to see and think about, and that's kind of the whole point Luffy went there, right? To inherit Ace's will and finish off what Ace needed to do, and avenge some of his dreams. And I think there's still more inherited will, right? We still need to take down Blackbeard, but we're almost there. I love seeing where, yeah, there was a goal in mind for us way at the beginning, and we kind of forgot that. We were kind of trapped in the journey, right? The journey of it. And that's what One Piece is all about, the journey. And then once we got there, we kind of didn't even realize what we've done. And it's awesome to see Oda kind of bring us back and be like, yo, this is what we did. We did what Ace wanted to do, right? Free Wano. So that was super cool, super heartwarming. I really loved it. And then Marco just bounces. He's like, yo, I'm out ya. And now we finally get to the biggest part of the chapter, the Isle of Woman, Amazon Lily in the Calm Belt. And even the Calm Belt ain't safe. It ain't safe anymore. And we start off with kind of the aftermath of it, and where Luffy's just like, yo, I should marry Luffy now, because I need some backing, right? I need someone's flag to put up, right, to kind of scare the Navy and Marines away. and pirates and things like this. Then we get into kind of the flashback of what actually happened to Boa Hancock. And we see that our boy Yamakiji, Vice Admiral, pulls up and they're trying to basically capture Boa Hancock and take over the Amazon Lily Island. And this is where we get our first look at the new pacifistas, and looks like they're based on some of the warlords. So the first pacifista we see is one based on Boa Hancock, and looks like they've incorporated all the pacifistas with Lunarian DNA, right? So that gives them these black wings, white hair, dark skin, and they're children. So it's interesting to see that the world government is always modifying children and kind of manipulating children. It's really weird. I wonder why they're always doing this, but yeah, so these are like children androids, and it kind of reminded me of the androids in Dragon Ball Z. So kind of another reference there. It's interesting to see like Dr. Gero and Dr. Vegapunk are kind of parallels in the two series. So that was just something I wanted to point out. Then we get apparently a warship was spotted by the Navy. Then we get our boy Blackbeard pulling up with Katarina Devon and Vasco Shot, and they just are admiring how beautiful Boa Hancock is. And it's really kind of critical to her ability, as she explains later, where the beauty is kind of the key of her entire fruit, right? So it's way more effective. Like I would say maybe it's like 100% more effective because of her beauty, and the fact that she has that beauty to add to kind of her making you fall in love with her, right? So I think that helps her entire ability in the first place. So if someone else was to use her ability, like let's say Blackbeard, it wouldn't really even work, right? Because you have to be attracted to that person in the first place. So I'll get into more of her abilities later when she explains it. And right when Blackbeard shows up, it looks like the Navy is kind of hesitant to fight Blackbeard, because obviously now they're fighting on two fronts where they need to take down Boa Hancock as well as Blackbeard. So they're unsure whether to engage here at all. And we get some small insight here from Koby, who has pulled up as well with the Navy, and he's saying that he's not surprised because pirates and the Navy were obviously trying to go for Boa Hancock here. So it looks like everyone kind of wanted the ability of Boa Hancock as well as the other warlords. So kind of the warlords were open pickings here, because I'm guessing people were kind of pissed off that for all this time the Navy was backing them. So now that the Navy's off their back, everyone's kind of going for them and trying to take over their territories. So something to point out here, a lot of times when they're referencing Koby, they're calling him the hero, similar to how they would call Garp back in the day. Koby is referenced as the hero due to the Rocky Port incident, whatever happened there. We get some insight on that here. We then get a pacifista starting to attack Blackbeard, and so this pacifista is hooked up with a sword and straight up almost slices the island in half, basically. This pacifista's ability is actually ridiculous. This pacifista actually forces Blackbeard to use Haki, which is very, very surprising, right? So this is, I think, one of the first examples we see a Blackbeard actually using Haki, and it's surprising that, these pacifistas are no joke with this Lunarian DNA. So this one kind of looks like King, or maybe has the abilities of Mihawk since he has the sword. So it's interesting to see, the government has been taking DNA from kind of all over the place and mixing them together. Another question I have, are these pacifistas kind of cognizant of what's going on? Do they have a personality in any way, or are they just machines built to follow the world government's orders? So that's something I'm guessing we're gonna elaborate on later. And Blackbeard actually goes so far to actually end up using his black hole ability, right? That huge ability that he used against Ace. Then we get Boa using her ability Slave Arrow, where she basically turns almost everyone to stone except for the little pacifista dude and Koby and Blackbeard, right? So these are the only kind of parties left out of basically everyone else. Even Katarina Devon and Vasco Shot are just completely turned to stone, and Blackbeard's just like, turn everyone back, dude. Turn everyone to black. Are you gonna play along and turn everyone back? This gets Boa to expand on actually how her ability works. She says whoever inherits my power won't be able to release them, right? So basically, if you kill her and give someone else that same power, that person will not be able to revert someone back from being rocked. So if you kill me, all your little friends will remain statues forever. So this is like another added ability to Boa Hancock, where she always kind of has a way out, because she can basically turn the most valuable members to stone, and then now you always need to keep her alive to kind of turn them back. So her ability has a lot more depth than we expected. Blackbeard then kind of explains how Koby helped him out at the Rocky Port incident, and he helped oust Ochoku. And Ochoku was a former member of the Rocks Pirates, and we don't really learn anything more about him except for the fact that he was the boss of this pirate island, and now it looks like Blackbeard has kind of rulership over this pirate island, and I'm guessing that kind of adds to his crew. So maybe all the people on this pirate island are a part of his greater crew, right? Instead of his commanders. And right where Blackbeard is about to kill Boa Hancock, and Kobe's just begging, yo, don't kill her, it's gonna kill everyone else, right? Right when, worst is gonna get to worst, our boy Rayleigh pulls up, right? And Rayleigh is actually crazy here because he's kind of starting off with malice, and usually we see kind of Rayleigh very calm, knowing what to do, not afraid at all, but he straight up pulls up here and says, you're Whitebeard's old apprentice here. I know it's immature to admit this, but I really don't like you. And it really makes sense. Like, Blackbeard, he just does not have any good vibes to him at all. I don't think there's anything redeemable to Blackbeard in, like, kind of our opinion. And I think, like, that's playing into the story, right? Where Blackbeard is a great villain where you really, really don't like him. What's there to like, right? And so Rayleigh's just pissed off. He's just like, yo, I ain't messing around with you. He basically tells Hancock, yo, release everyone. I will be sure to de-escalate the situation. And so after this, after Rayleigh kind of de-escalated the situation, kind of using his reputation more than anything, and he actually states this straight up. He says, we got lucky. Circumstances allowed me to resolve things with my reputation since he's gotten old. So Rayleigh actually admits here that he's not as strong as he used to be, but his reputation was enough to kind of scare Blackbeard off. But looks like Blackbeard actually took Kobe with him and kidnapped Kobe. So also after the fact, Shaki pulls up, and it's confirmed that she is the former empress of Amazon Lily from 2 generations back. So it's been a long time since she's been the empress of Amazon Lily, but she was, confirmed. So that's cool to see. And she also points out, like, kind of the changes that have been made over time since the Calm Belt isn't safe anymore. She actually points out how Vegapunk's paddle ships allow the military and navy to move through here very easily. Shaki also points out that looks like the navy is replacing the 7 warlords with these new weapons, with the pacifistas. So these pacifistas are crazy powerful, and I wonder if they're going to end up releasing an entire army of these pacifistas. And potentially, if the government gets access again, maybe they'll have Vegapunk create these artificial devil fruits again, and maybe they'll create a devil fruit army in the end of the story. That's something that could potentially happen. I'm seeing this happening because if they're already getting into Lunarian DNA, and Lunarians already have this ability to control fire, right? And so if devil fruits allow you to control other elements and other things like this, I'm sure the world government is working on newer versions of these pacifistas. So we're going to see them do a lot more here in the story, and I'm not going to underestimate these at all. So some questions I had kind of at the end of this were, why did Blackbeard want Boa's power? And this is kind of cleared up, I guess, just by seeing how Boa's ability worked, because she was able to basically take out 90% of her enemies without a worry. And I thought her ability only worked really on men, but it also worked on Katarina Devon, because it seemed like Katarina Devon, just looking at her, thought that Boa was very, very beautiful and gorgeous, right? And so maybe that kind of lent to her ability to work on her as well. So yeah, we cannot underestimate Boa's ability here at all. Something I want to mention as well is we get 2 bounty reveals for Blackbeard's new bounty at 3.996 billion berries and Boa's bounty at 1.658 billion berries. So Blackbeard, he totally leveled up. He was at 2.9, I believe, before this, and now he's at 3.9. So he's almost at 4 billion. Not as much as Shanks, but he's almost there. And Boa is nothing to be disrespected. And yeah, she's a former warlord, 1.658 billion, right? So Boa is no joke, and it's really shown today. She basically took out an entire army just with one attack, right? So Boa is no joke. Another thing I'm really curious about is, how did Rayleigh convince Blackbeard to leave? Was it just based totally on him just being like, yo, bounce, you know what I'm saying? Like, was it just purely on threat, or did he have to kind of do some other things? And how did he just let Kobe just get kidnapped like that? Maybe it was something where he kind of just was like, yo, get off the island, and then later Blackbeard just snatched Kobe, and then he just went away. something like this. So I'm curious why he took Kobe in the first place, and I'm curious how Kobe helped Blackbeard at Rocky Port in the first place, right? So how are they introduced? Maybe Kobe ended up helping take down the ruler of the pirate island, right? Maybe there was something going on there where both parties were taking down the same enemy, you know, so it was like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And it also seems that the world government is building pacifistas based on different tribes, so they're doing Lunarians, and I'm sure they're going to start incorporating other different tribes that we learn about in the future. And again, why are they based on children? I still don't understand, right? So why are they not fully grown up? Maybe these children will grow up. Maybe they have an ability to grow up and get stronger. Maybe that's why they initially built them as children, so that they can train them to become stronger, right? So maybe they're like people and their abilities can get stronger. So this is very interesting direction that Oda's taking with these pacifistas. And yeah, that's basically all I've got for this chapter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Subscribe and like for more, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.